Hey, what's up? This is Gavin Mehl. We got Dimitri Fabricant back on with us again today. We're going to go and talk everything about like the social, some of the social narratives that are happening, and also just the some of the problems that can be solved with Bitcoin, and some of the just really exciting opportunities right now, and what's in it for these for people who find out about this sort of thing early. So, Dimitri, good to see you, man. How you doing?
Hey Gavin, I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, man. Really appreciate you being here. And it looks like you're back. You're still out in New England. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. And so funny things. Not really funny, but the some of the mainstream stuff has been happening lately. Let me just make. Yeah, I'm on the record. Yeah, is that in 2012 there was a shooting in New England, and it wasn't it a shooting? It was like the Boston Marathon, and
Yeah,
that
bomb.
and a bomb. That's right, a bomb. And there was a couple brothers that potentially were involved, and it was a really looked like a really shady operation. It was highly strategic and very. They've made a movie about it after that. But I remember how, and at that time, I was super into Alex Jones and the Infowars, and I was like, oh yeah, this is so cool. And Alex Jones had this crazy narrative about it. But it was interesting. I was always like looking for more information, like what's really going on. I felt like I'd been lied to before, and I felt like there's so many lies. Like, how do I know this is not another lie? So I just know more information. So the now we've got this thing with Charlie, with the sad situation with Charlie Kirk, which is another mainstream narrative talking point. Which, dude, I mean, if it's of course, if it's, I mean, I mean, I'm sad and have sympathy for anyone, or for the family involved in the situation. But and I have empathy and respect, and for the whole movement and Mega and Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. And I mean, I've been to events with Charlie Kirk. I've been to these things, So I mean, I 100% I'm on the page with him. But the the thing is that it seems like there's just more to the story, in looking at it. It's not just a simple narrative, and somebody was upset and they were out in the middle of the thing and they shot a guy dead and he's gone, and we need to rage, and we need to get these bad people that and then
Yeah.
they got the guy, and then they didn't get the guy, and then they got somebody. It's like, what are your thoughts on this whole narrative with what's going on?
Well, I think that we're just in a situation where there's like zero trust. Like all of the trust by the authorities, you know, and you can name the authority, the medical authority, the justice system authority, the politicians. There's just so little institutional trust that it almost like no matter what they say, you almost have to be skeptical because we've just been lied to over and over and over again. And lots of secrets, lots of things happening where the American people are not being apprised of on purpose to keep them in the dark, to keep them propagandized, to drive narratives for, to getting kind of public opinion for doing things that aren't necessarily in our interest. And so like anytime these narratives come out, you really have to be super skeptical, which I totally am. I think that I think it's very early still, and there's lots of kind of like there's lots of thread lines here, and I don't it's too early to say exactly what's happening, but do I trust that it's just as simple as this one guy and he did it? No, I don't. And so even like today I saw that uh, and again, like the information environment is so difficult because you're seeing stuff on social media and you can't take it at face value. So like even the things I'm going to talk about, tomorrow it can come out that that's actually not true, and it was, it was a lie that was propagated to build some narrative. So, but one thing I saw was that they already are paving over and like doing construction on the crime scene. So to me, that's like, all right, well, that's an immediate red flag because um, you actually want that crime scene available for analysis. So already that's kind of shady, and um, yeah, I think that we have to be skeptical. It's very healthy to be skeptical. I think that the people, the authorities and institutions that are telling us this narrative about this shooting, they haven't earned the trust that's necessary for us to take things at face value. And so we'll see what happens. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was more to the story than the than the lone gunman who is apparently either a groyper or a trans affiliated person. Both completely opposite narratives that the people on the left are believing and the people on the right are believing. They're totally two different stories. So that's another kind of interesting phenomenon. Um, yeah.
Yeah, and so you have a lot of experience in obviously with your website with tree chat and large language models and everything. So do you think that video they put out of him was an AI video where he was getting shot there and then the blood was here and then he had ring finger on the small on this finger, not here, and then the hand, it was just,
Yeah.
was that a real video?
My current thinking is that it is a real video and that that shooting happened. I don't think that, I think that there's, because they were in front of a crowd. So like that would be a very difficult thing to pull off, um, and, and basically organize. So I do think it was a real video. And, you know, I saw some other things where like, Erica Kirk was over the casket and like he had the hands looked kind of fake. Um, Again, it's such a we're in such a interesting and actually difficult time because it's like you're getting video, pumped into your brain, and it's very difficult to know, is it a real video even? I actually think that blockchain has a lot of capability to help there because you can actually prove, like, okay, this video was filmed on a device, this is the location, and you can basically like timestamp the video. So I think there's actually, tools that we can use to help with this problem. But yeah, it is a problem. You don't know if the video you're watching is real or not. And especially with AI, with its capabilities for deep fakes, it's getting bigger and bigger. And I think that Bitcoin has a role to play there to help alleviate some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I mean, that's absolutely true. And so, before we get off this point, I mean, it's just it I think there's a positive side to this whole thing, and there's a really a bigger narrative that I think we'll get a lot out of this eventually, in my opinion, because we do have there. What if there was actually more to the narrative, and that we were in, as Americans, because you and I are Americans, right? And that's what we have in common. And as Americans, we've been on life support. Our sacred constitution has been on life support. Our rights have been on life support. They've been hanging on by a thread. They're not even there pretty much, but they're just barely there. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Like the First Amendment has been thrashed. And that's why we're here right now, because the First Amendment, it is almost gone. It's
Yeah.
still there, but barely. And the First Amendment is everything. That's like the basis for everything. Of course, the Second Amendment protects the first, and then we go on to enforcement powers. But with the fact that we've been on life support for so long, isn't it possible that looks like Charlie Kirk's dad, he was the architect of Trump Towers, one of them? Okay. Isn't it possible that there's much more to this narrative here with the special operation going on, a military surgical operation potentially going on to eliminate this cancer that has put us on life support? Because if we were thriving and everything was great and we had all our rights, I'd be like, that's crazy. We don't need that. But we are just about dead. I mean,
Well,
so what are your thoughts?
so can you elaborate? Like, what do you mean by special operation? So what was the special operation?
Well, when you really go in deep into the laws, and what happened is during Dwight D. Eisenhower's presidency, he was a 5-star general, and so
Mhm.
he was the only 5-star general we've had as a president. So what he did was he expanded the powers of the president in the executive branch through special operations with executive orders, and inside of Congress that authorized this through laws and orders, not through
Right.
some crazy conspiracy. very specific laws and orders. And then those laws and orders can be enacted through executive orders and different powers. And if you go back over the last
So you're
two,
saying a special operation to protect the First Amendment, you're saying. So like, yeah, so I mean, this is again, the point is that we I don't know. The point is that I don't know. And I wouldn't it wouldn't surprise me, but the truth is that I don't know because so much of it is secret and happening, and so much of what we're getting is
yeah,
propaganda, and a literal matrix is being constructed to basically harvest our attention and push narratives. And so I do think that there is like basically a secret conflict. So, and we can kind of speculate about that, what that is, but there is a conflict among, the elite in this country on both sides, and some even, some both inside of the country and on the global level, of people who have, different interests, and of people who, for whom, I do think there's an elite, a global elite for whom the American system of government is a challenge, is a problem, because like what you're saying that, you know, we're on life support, like the Constitution is on life support, and I do agree with that. That we're kind of it's under attack. It's trying to be squashed because it's actually the best vehicle, legal, institutional, to kind of fight back against, basically human enslavement, uh, including the fiat system, including just you know, being able to say what you want. So like being able to express opinions that you want. So in some sense, it's kind of like it is. We're up against a huge kind of. We have a huge fight on our hands, but on the other hand, the like we have the tools necessary in the American Constitution to that if we exercise, um, that we can kind of fight back against this very effectively. And it's actually the only set of tools. Like
yeah.
this is the only place
It's
where,
not like we have any other tools. Right? I agree.
yeah, there's no other country. Like, so the fight has to be here. The fight has to be in America. And actually, I was somewhat encouraged because, after Charlie Kirk's shooting and his murder, they basically tried to, like, if you see some of the blurbs from Pam Bondi and some of her lieutenants, I guess, they're basically kind of trying to push the hate speech line also, but from the right, right? We had like hate speech from the left, but now they're saying they're trying to push the hate speech line on the right. And she literally said, like, the First Amendment doesn't allow hate speech, which is, of course, a carve out, trying to weaken the First Amendment because the First Amendment does allow hate speech. What it doesn't allow is incitement to violence, for example. But she got a lot of pushback from the right. So I think there's kind of like, when Trump came to power, his coalition was a lot of, it was the kind of the, some Republicans, and then a lot of the left, the classic liberals, kind of left the left and went over to Trump because they saw that, wokeism and cancellation culture, all of that stuff was not something they wanted to participate in. And so they kind of adopted Trump because he was offering a defense of those things. But now he's kind of going back on his promises on that. And he's getting pushback from at least, kind of that faction that is interested in defending freedom of speech, no matter from who. Basically,
Yeah.
First Amendment is number one. And I'm, in a sense, I'm a First Amendment,
Maximalist.
yeah, fundamentalist.
A hundred
So I
percent.
really don't care who you are, what political party you're
100%.
at.
And
So
on the
like,
First Amendment, let me ask you this: did you see the lady in Texas? She was a West Texas University school member, a black lady, and she got arrested for speaking out
yeah,
against Charlie Kirk.
yeah, I
Now,
saw
this is an
something.
extreme example, right? Let me just premise this if you guys haven't seen the video. This is a very horrible, rude, and absolutely despicable person with zero morals or somebody that yeah, that you would never want to even see Okay. And she's, running around there cheering and celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk and making this rap about it. My homie or your homie, he was shot in the head, something like that. And
Yep.
your homie got shot in the head. And it was a joke. It was, but she's dancing around and then they arrested her. Now,
Yeah.
uh, for those who aren't familiar with the laws, unfortunately, it's not unfortunate. Fortunately for the First Amendment, people have the right to say what they want, and even if it's despicable and absolutely rude and hateful and just rather mean, it's just mean.
Right.
Fortunately, they're allowed to do that, and we should not be ever putting, in my opinion, ever stopping that because
Right.
even
Well,
if it's
because
despicable.
it's not about that. It's about that as soon as you lower the standard, then everything else becomes, you know, basically you become subject to the authority of the government to come in and use violence against you for your speech. So like that's really the point is that like it's not about her, and I don't know her particular story, so I haven't researched exactly what happened to her. But like, if that's really why she was arrested, then that's a very bad precedent. You can't arrest people for being rude or being again
Mean.
for being mean, exactly, for being hateful. So like I think the line is like incitement to violence, which like so if she didn't do that, then there's no
There has to be a clear and imminent threat. That's
right.
the standard. If there is a clear and imminent threat, yes.
Right.
But
So,
just by saying ha ha ha, this is what
right.
happened,
Yeah, right.
it's mean
Exactly.
and it's
And
despicable.
yeah, so yeah, I totally agree. I don't think that again, the problem is you're actually lowering, you're lowering protections for yourself for when you want to say controversial things. And it's not like that hasn't happened. I mean, we just lived through COVID where, the craziest things were deemed basically unacceptable to say, like that, the virus was created in a lab in China. And so like you literally couldn't say that when the virus was when the origin of the virus was like, a few miles or whatever it was from a lab that did that research. So like the most obvious point you couldn't say, and if the government thanks to you couldn't say socially, but like if the government had the power to prosecute speech, then that would be up for that would be something where you had to fear the cops or the FBI showing up at your door, which actually happens. Like if you look at the UK, for example, who don't have as strong First Amendment protections, they routinely arrest now people for tweets that are unpopular or that are inconvenient for the government. So again, it's not about her. Like it's the standard that you're setting so that you can speak out for when more important issues come up.
There's a viral video on YouTube, and it turned into a book about never speaking to the cops, never speaking to the FBI, and always exercising the Fifth Amendment. And what the author, he's a professor in at some law school, and he says, look, what all cops tell their kids, and all prosecutors teach their children, is they say you never talk to them. You say my parents must be here. I can't answer one question. I'm sorry, without counsel. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I need counsel here. I'm sorry. Fifth Amendment, I need to have counsel here. That's it. No matter what.
Yeah. Well,
Wait,
that's
oh, but
because,
I'm innocent. I'm innocent. Nope,
right.
nope, 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 nope.
Right. Well, that's why, everything you say can and will be used against you. I mean, it's explicit, right? It's like they're not your friends, they're not on your side. And
And
even if you are innocent, like you could be, first of all, making it more difficult for you to prove that. You're basically providing evidence to the state. They're agents of the state, and that's very important. They're agents of the state, so that they're on the state's side.
yeah. And
They're
we
not.
and dude, we want to I mean, I'm all about helping the law enforcement and getting them the information, but
Of
just
course.
make sure first that and I'm always exercising the right to counsel and the Fifth Amendment. Say I'm gonna wait first, I'm gonna get my right to counsel. Then
Yep.
counsel can be there. You got your young person, your
Right.
parents,
Right.
they can help you. Or if you have an attorney, you get counsel there. And you say,
course.
look, before you answer, it's not a rush. Like we're gonna
Yep.
wait one day, 2 day, whatever you need. We'll answer. But
Yeah, well, that's you there you have your own agent, right? You have an agent working on your behalf who knows the law, who knows, what you should and shouldn't say to protect your rights. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me.
yeah, and it's really critical, man. And then ultimately, just taking the Fifth Amendment, if need be. Sorry, you know,
Yep.
not answering questions. And I think that's what we've seen in Congress. A lot of times, these people go into Congress that were, these Dr. Death people, and they're there and they're civilly, being potentially civilly liable. Oh, I'm going to take the Fifth on every single question. You see these high, powerful people doing that.
Yep.
So we learn from them. We need to learn,
Yep.
learn from them. So is my audio coming through okay? I might.
Yeah. Works for
Okay.
me.
So, dude, all right. So, another thing that's been on life support is the original Bitcoin. But thanks to you, I think we have a way forward, and the people who really see this vision, because, you know, I mean, I guess in a vision, if you could press stop right now and not, and still work your ass off, but then open up time in, let's say, 2030. Where do you think we're going to be in 2030 with things just 5 years from now with the Bitcoin space?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I'm always looking at it through the lens of tree chat. So, I mean, I would love. So, like we were saying before this, our vision is now, censorship-free social media, post to earn, no ads. So, I think what we're trying to do is essentially, I hope that by 2030, we've shown a compelling use case for the Bitcoin technology through tree chat. So we're doing something with tree chat that I don't think can be done on with any other technology. So if you want what tree chat offers, which is censorship-free, a censorship-free social media where there's no ads, and that is kind of a big deal from my perspective because by having microtransactions and being able to post and earn money, and TreeChat takes a small fraction of that to fund itself to monetize, we don't have to do ads. So, we're going to have a social media that is ad free, that doesn't harvest your attention, that doesn't do rage bait, that doesn't collect your data, that doesn't censor on anyone's behalf, including advertisers, because there are none. And so, having done this, like having this compelling use case, I think that more and more people are going to start adopting the technology. That's really kind of how we're coming at it, is like, because the truth is that like the narrative wars, we have a lot of headwind, right? Like the reputation of original Bitcoin, of Bitcoin SV. Well, it's been made to be bad. We are kind of on the defense in terms of the narrative war, the propaganda war. And so and I think about like what can actually cut through that. And if you offer a compelling product that can only be had on the Bitcoin network, then no one will care. No, they won't. First of all, they won't even hear about it, and they won't care because they're doing something really amazing, uh, and valuable to them. They're getting a little bit of money to post. They're trading ordinals and NFTs. They're creating art. They have community. They don't have to worry about their data being stolen. So all of those things, that's what we're trying to get out there so that we can accrue the audience. And then obviously the tech that we're on is Bitcoin SV. And so that's how the whole ecosystem is going to rise up. Now, of course, there'll be other things like there's Terranode, which will make our job easier, and Terranode is itself going to create other use cases, hopefully, like a lot of more enterprise use cases, more even government use cases that are very interested in that require massive scale, that need to do basically need to understand the provenance of information, of products, of data. So like all of that hopefully will happen too. But for us, we're focused on, how can we offer a compelling use case that's undeniable, that can't be had anywhere else, and that's what we're working on.
Yeah, I mean, I get, yeah, this is one of those. I hate, I don't want to, I hate to be an echo chamber because people criticize, oh, it's an echo chamber. You're on the same page. But I mean, like, is there a compelling point for, let's say, another network, somebody who just they're all about oh, I know one. Solana is a really popular thing. People love Solana and they think it's the best thing ever. I mean, is there a compelling case for that instead? That why that's going to be, much better. I mean, I guess you looked at it. Why
Yeah.
didn't you just build and work on Solana? Why not? Why didn't you?
Well, one thing is that Solana is so there's a few things. Just on the technical side, I think Solana it hasn't proven out the same scaling capabilities. So, and there's debate about whether they will or not. But, as far as my current understanding and my current model of the situation is that they haven't proven that they can scale that much. And also their fees are a little bit higher. Well, it even depends on what you mean by a little bit, but like it might be, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it might be like an order of magnitude. Like, like I can send like 1,000th of a cent. In tree chat, some of the up value, which is like upvote with money in the tree chat, they're like some people are sending like 10 Satoshis, which is just tiny amounts of money. So for us, we want to actually be able to send like nano transactions because we want the friction of the money moving to be very low. Like we want a culture of tipping. So you can set it as low as you want. And, Solana doesn't offer the same capability there. But then on a more philosophical level, and even like more political level, Solana is not as there's a corporation behind it. So it's in that sense, there's a group of people that's in control and that can be leaned on, that can be influenced. And so, the whole original idea of a fixed protocol of Bitcoin as a commodity, that that's basically a very appealing idea to me, just on a like personal level. And so I want to give that idea a shot. That's my preference. That's my like I want to give original Bitcoin a shot. I don't think that it's gotten its a fair implementation or a fair kind of exercise in the real world. So now that we're kind of getting the tech there, and hopefully we can build again compelling, undeniable product on it, then that's just something that I personally want to see in the world and succeed.
So it sounds like with Solana, the concerns were centralization and the fact that the payments, the level of the payment amounts were never essentially
The
low
fees,
enough.
yeah.
Um, what
I mean,
about like, yeah, go ahead.
just another thing is, the fees are also matter for data storage. So like all of the posts on Tree Chat, they're stored on chain. So you can't like you always have an archive of the things you've written and the conversations that people are having and even of the news. So you're creating an on-chain record of what people care about, what people are reading, what's happening in the world. It's almost like a historical archive that is created through the use of this social media, through the use of Tree Chat. And so that also, the fees being very low, that's something that's possible on Bitcoin that is more expensive on Solana.
What was the what caused the demise of darn it, the one social network that was before you guys,
Coaching?
Twitch. Yeah, what was the demise? And those guys, I met with Josh, great guy. I mean they're straight business guys, right? So I think I have my assumptions, but what do you think caused the
Yeah,
demise?
I'm not really sure to be honest with you. Like I would just be speculating. I imagine it's something like the ordinals taking off in on Bitcoin and just seeing a bigger opportunity there.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, but I could be wrong about that. I don't have any
Did they
special.
go and build on Solana?
Uh,
Or
I'm not sure. Not that I'm aware of, but I don't know. I
okay.
haven't
I don't
followed
know either.
closely recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I guess my question, well, my question is like, well, what stops you from doing that? Because there might be more opportunity in the short term on Solana, where you could make more money with a one of their ordinals, one of their meme coins.
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it's basically everything I just talked about. And I'm not sure that, you know, you want to be in a space that not everyone is thinking about because the competition is actually like if everyone has the same idea, and then first of all, there's a lot of competition, and then you're fighting tooth and nail versus many people, and like it's harder to win, and you have to split the pie much more. So I think that, Bitcoin is kind of going under the radar. I think that it's a huge
Yeah,
opportunity. So
yeah,
that's another reason. It's not like it is more challenging in some ways, but actually the opportunity is bigger. So if we can make it here, I mean, it's just, you know, it's such a contrarian kind of take and vision, but I think it's the correct one. And so like the payoff, you're taking we're taking a somewhat of a bigger risk being in this ecosystem, but I think the payoff is just dramatic, and I think we're gonna uh, succeed on a big scale.
yeah. I mean, it's a really good point. I think it's going under the radar. I mean, think about like back in, I think it was when Satoshi was still on the forums and he was talking in the groups there. If you read back some of his chat, he would talk about how, well, when we have enough adoption, we're gonna need to add the block, increase the block size or what. I mean, when we have more adoption, right now we're in the early stages and the early phases, and I know everyone here, in that time they were thinking, oh yeah, we need more adoption. I mean, it's does it. I mean, I wonder how big it was at that time, or how small it was at that time in those days when he was on the forums. If it's about the same size of what original Bitcoin is now, or maybe it's comparable. I mean, do you have any idea
Yeah, I'm not sure.
historically?
Yeah, not
Yeah,
sure.
I don't know. I think it's a good reference point though because it was super small
Yeah,
at that point, and they were just like, but in comparison we're way bigger now,
yeah.
way more powerful.
I
And
do think it's bigger now.
mhm,
It would be my guess.
yeah, I think it's way bigger, way more, and way richer in features and implementation, and the massive amount of quick adoption and progress, especially with Terranode, with with things like Tree Chat, which were like unthinkable at that time in those days.
Yeah.
Like that probably may have been an idea, but nobody had come
Right.
up with it.
Well, I think the Bitcoin community is kind of gone through like the Bitcoin SV community has gone through a roller coaster kind of, there's been so much, um
No, I mean
with
it's
the court
yeah,
cases and like
calculated opposition. I mean, definitely. I mean, well funded calculated opposition
yeah, yeah.
is always going to be
Yeah, well, it's just
the
they're almost like they're they you get your hopes up and then things don't go your way, and then you get your hopes up away, things it's like it's somewhat of an emotionally taxing, and then obviously people really care about the price, something which we're not really focused on at all on Tree Chat, and we can talk about why that is, but like the it's I think there's a whole almost like crowd of people that have kind of like um, bailed on it. But I think again, if there is a compelling product with, that you just can't get anywhere else, like all of those people are going to come back. We're going to get them back. And then we're going to grow and we're going to, one of the, I was listening to maybe to a space. I think Kurt invited me to a space about social media on crypto social media, and I was actually very surprised at how many of those people that were talking about that were fans of Twitch. And so that tells me that there's much less kind of tribalism in the space. That again, you just need to deliver a compelling product. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna spread the word about it, and it's not perfect yet. It's getting better. We're iterating all the time, but we're gonna deliver a product that people are gonna come and they're not gonna care what the underlying crypto is. They're just going to care that they can post to earn, that it's uncensored, that it's censorship free, that there's no ads, that you're reading everything. You're never worried about, is this an ad or not? You have to check the corner. Does that say ad? Like you can be. I mean, imagine like you're reading about like Charlie Kirk's death, and then like you're reading some thread about it that's super like, dark or deep, and then there's like an ad for like sneakers or something, But that always gets me, is like that you can just like show me something when I don't want it, and it's not up to you, and then the corporation can lobby that the things that I'm saying aren't good for the ads that they're showing. Like it's almost like it's having mastery of your attention. That's what it is. It's like you're not in control of your attention on these other networks. And so, and we can understand why that happens, is because that they developed the ad model because they needed a way to fund these. So like you're literally trading your attention, something valuable, to be able to use these networks. And so we're saying, no, you don't have to do that anymore. You can just have these nano transactions flying back and forth, and that's how Tree Chat will monetize, and no ads. And I think that that's going to be a big deal.
Definitely. It's a huge deal, and let me go in another direction a little bit now about a popular, well, it's a popular topic and narrative, and I think it's kind of interesting about the back to kind of the Satoshi narrative and what happened, and this this taking up the possession of the coins, and then I think it's expiring on October 1st or so. So for those who haven't been following, we had the ruling that we know that Craig Wright is legally not allowed to say Satoshi. He's Satoshi, right? So we know that he's legally not allowed to do that. So, but there's this other thing that this narrative was with the Satoshi-era coins that have moved 80,000 BTC. You know about that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
80,000 BTC is gigantic. These
yeah,
are on chain BTC moved over there to another wallet. In the wallet, there's 10. These are a total of eight eight transactions of 100. I think 100,000. No,
yeah. I'm not sure what the numbers are.
I think it's yeah, it's like 50. Either way, it's like eight separate wallets that
Yeah.
all moved at the same time, and they all came with a message that linked to the Solomon brothers, saying
Yep.
if these coins, if anyone has a right to these coins, please contact us here or on chain. Post your keys, and you'll have a right to them. Now, let's just explore that theory for a moment, okay? Because Satoshi, if he is around, well, he's going to come forward and he's going to sign those coins right now. All right.
Mhm.
Would you agree? Because those look like they were all Satoshi coins. I mean, 80,000 BTC from 20, whatever it was. Now that seems to be the narrative that's being exposed. So he needs to
Yeah.
sign those coins and take them. Otherwise, this wallet at this exchange is going to then take legal possession of them, and nobody can ever sue that person who is claiming them.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the idea that just by announcing that they get all of these legal rights. It's kind of like a legal maneuver, almost like I don't understand. Like, I think I was reading that they're basing it on like real estate, or maybe I was watching you actually. Maybe you said this, I don't remember, but like that they're kind of copying this idea that like, if there's an abandoned property, you can just come in and say like, oh, this is like, I'm giving notice that I'm taking over this abandoned property, and there's some legal precedent on that for real estate. But I'm not sure that just announcing it and posting a website and saying like, I'm taking possessions of these of coins, and I don't think we know who actually posted that. It was done through a law firm, but we don't know who they're representing. So I've heard theories that it's actually that was actually Satoshi doing that, or someone else doing that. And so like, I honestly don't know what to make of it. So but I am unconvinced that it's just an automatic, that if Satoshi doesn't sign, then this other person or whoever it is gets the money. Like, to
Well,
me, that hasn't been
let
that
me
to me
ask
that's
you. Let me ask you
speculation.
this. I mean, how there doesn't seem to be any possible way that somebody can just move 80,000 BTC if they didn't have the keys, right?
Yeah, so well, right. So that's the other thing I also is like, is it that they have the keys, or is it that they have some way, like um some communication with the miners who are like who are, what's the word, working together, collaborating, or like a conspiracy of miners where they're going to try to take these coins. That's the other kind of narrative that I heard. So again, I highly doubt. Yeah, like you would think that whoever wrote that would has the keys, but then um, like, why would you even need the announcement?
This is now let me explore why. All
Yeah.
right, here's the
Yeah, I
aha
know what you're
moment.
gonna say, but
Well,
yeah,
here's
go
the
ahead, go
aha
ahead.
moment, okay? So, and this kind of has come together in the last few days of my head. Let me just kind of explore this. So, Binary posted something on X recently, and he said, Craig Wright is not Satoshi. He killed off Satoshi. He is legally Satoshi. He killed him off. Satoshi is gone. Okay. Craig Wright is not Satoshi. People keep saying he's Satoshi. He's not. He
Right.
killed him off. He's gone. He's never coming back. And this right here, okay, this is the theory that I've got nailed down is what's happening is that it's separating Satoshi and Craig Wright once and for all,
Yep.
okay? And it will, whether or not we know that Craig Wright's going to take that money, I don't know if we'll ever find that out. But let's just assume that it is Craig, and he is going to take those, and he's going to legally get them. It's going to once and for all separate him from Satoshi, so no one can say, "Well, you shouldn't have. You took Satoshi's coins." No, I didn't.
Right.
I'm not Satoshi. I'm not.
Right. It's as though it's so your theory is that it's as though it's like he has alter egos, and it's as though his Craig Wright alter ego is taking legal possession from his Satoshi alter ego. And this
Right.
is like the way that it's
And it's
being
and it's and it's going through 100% legal process to
right.
separate the two, to give the world notice to anyone out there who doubts that alter ego has a living, breathing body to it. You know that thing was actually legitimate. It was real. Come on forward. 90 days. Bring it on. You know. And
I mean, that's I think that's probably, in my mind, that's plausible, and it's probably the
Well,
best
it,
theory
it,
that
it
I've heard
seems
on it.
like the only logical incentive, unless there's some major ruling out the whole conspiracy with the miners theory, because
Yeah.
that sounds like I'm not informed enough on that, and that seems like a pretty wild fallacy. But this seems like a true motive from a guy who has an understanding in law. He understands the procedures in law, and he's been targeted for forever about legal stuff and sued, so many times. How would he
Yeah.
protect himself by actually taking possession of those Satoshi coins legally? Well, he'd have to
Yeah.
separate himself once and for all, and then give notice to Satoshi and the world, saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, come forward."
Yeah. I mean, I think that, yeah, that's definitely an interesting theory. And like I said, to me, the most plausible. Like, again, however, I still want to go back to, I still think that the idea that you can just claim coins that haven't moved for long, like, basically, like that, you can kind of like take legal possession of coins. I think
Well,
that's a novel
well, let
legal
me
idea.
let me
And
uh, let me just frame it like this. Let's
yeah,
say that let's put it this way. Okay, let's give an example. Okay, how would I find this? I come across I'm at the freaking library or something, and all of a sudden I see this key fob. I'm like, you're not a key fob, but a little USB. I'm like, oh my god, a USB. Has anyone? No. On the USB, there's private keys to a wallet. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's BTC. Oh my, let's just
right,
say this happens, right? And
right, right, right.
then I say, well, what do I do? What do I
I think,
do? What do I do? Well, I should probably figure out how to give notice to whoever these are, because I mean, I really feel bad, but what am I supposed to do? So that, SOS, how would
yeah,
you?
I do agree, like with the point you're making, that if he has the keys, then it is like it almost doesn't matter what the legal justification is, because he has the keys. So like there's no, so even though it is true that it's kind of a novel legal maneuver, it's like there's no one, if Craig has the keys, then there's no one on the other side of it who can like challenge it, right?
And
So it's
and
like,
and if somebody found those keys,
right.
I think they're doing the right thing.
Well, that's a little more shaky to me, but if
How? Well, how would you, well, yeah, I agree, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, they stole the
I think
keys.
I think the fact that it's Craig and he has the keys makes it much more solid than, some random person coming and being like, actually, this is my Bitcoin
I mean,
and yeah.
there's so much on the blockchain post about this, about that leads back to Craig. I mean, this guy is trolling the freaking blockchain. He was putting graffiti on the blockchain about CSW, putting the word FUC, on the
Right.
blockchain, putting all this graffiti, digital graffiti in these transactions that is just so sophisticated,
Yeah.
through it, calculated maneuvers at one time. There's not too many people, Well, first of all, one of the things that the video I saw talked about was that it's somebody from the first generation. So now you got
Yeah. It's like
limited, a
handfuls of
handful of
people.
people. It's a
Yeah.
first generation Bitcoiner, right? So, okay, well, that's a handful of people, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I mean, it's such an interesting, I like, you know, one thing I always think about this, like living through this is what a crazy history this is. And that like we're like, even in a small way, we're kind of participating in it. And like, it's just a crazy story. Like when this
it
gets made
is.
a movie or whatever. I
It's
mean,
it's well,
and
it is going
everything.
to be a movie. It's going to be a documentary, and it's going to be. It's just it's not over yet. So
Yeah, no, it's not. No,
we're
no, no.
still
Of course.
living through it. And I think the October surprise here that we're coming out seeing is a big part of it. You got the what is it? The white paper was October 31st, right? So that's the
Yeah,
15. Yeah, the October 31st. I think it's the 15
sure.
years. Yeah, on the white papers coming up, and then the coins are July 4th of this year is when that notice was done. It was exactly on July 4th. And that's American Independence Day, very very significant day, Freedom Day, right? And it's
Yeah.
this notice that's now expiring in October. So we've got some exciting things to talk
What
about.
was the October date?
Well, it would be October, probably October. I think it was 90 days, October 4th, October 3rd, maybe,
Hmm.
October 1st. So 90 days from July 4th.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be early October. And that's when that's going to happen. And that will be the sell date. So here's
Two
the thing.
weeks, basically.
That's the sell date, right? So you figure all the coins that have been moved, they're on an exchange right now, and they're going to sell. That's the claim potentially. Maybe we'll
Right.
see. They potentially will all sell, liquidate at one point. 80,000 BTC, $8 billion, wipes, gone, goes off to fiat or
Yeah.
goes somewhere.
Yeah, I wonder. I kind of want to look now, like how traders are or speculators are dealing. I haven't seen too much from speculators.
That seems like a great trade opportunity. I would like to capitalize on. I mean, if we know that there's a potential trade happening on early October for 80,000 BTC, a sell order. I
Yeah.
mean, there's got to be a way to front run that, like how I'd like to figure
And
that
yeah,
out.
you can short Bitcoin, BTC. Um, yeah, that's probably the most straightforward way that comes to mind.
Yeah,
But
shorting
again, like
BTC.
the problem is I don't recommend anyone does this, by the way, because unless you're like unless you're really playing the game seriously and that's the problem with speculation and why like I said a few minutes earlier, like I'm personally, and my company, our team is we're not interested in the price. We're just we in price of even BTC or BSV. Like obviously, hopefully, I think that if we succeed, the price will go up. But for our operations, the price really doesn't matter. We just need to be able to move the money very cheaply. Like someone needs to be able to reward a post very cheaply. Someone needs to be able to write content on chain very cheaply. So from that perspective, and I know that people do care about the price, but for us, for us, it's the capabilities of the technology that is very interesting.
And what about implementing or integrating the money stable coin into Tree Chat? Is that a possibility or something that's on the roadmap potentially?
We've talked about it. So, I mean, it's not like imminent or anything, but I think eventually it will happen. I just don't have it's not a near-term thing. It's not the number one priority right now. I think the number one priority is to grow, which we're doing. So, and just to focus on getting people on the platform, getting people to use it, to talk to each other, to upvalue each other's posts, to use the AI to.
Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, you were saying, Dimitri, about and I my internet cut off. Sorry.
Yeah, where did you lose me?
We were just well, you were talking about the price and how it really doesn't
Oh
matter at
yeah.
this
Well,
point
yeah,
to.
I was just saying that we're focused on just building good product and using the capabilities of Bitcoin and the cheap transactions that it offers so that people can come in, they can reward each other's content with very cheap fees, and write data on chain, write their conversations on chain, have a historical record of their words, and that should survive for a long time. And yeah, it's just about the capabilities of the technology, and I think just organically, as more people uh, use BSV, then the price should go up. But I think in the day to day, we're not. That's not something that doesn't affect us very much. It obviously will affect us if BSV gets a bunch of hype and people are paying more attention to it, so that will help. But I think that's not something we can control. What we can control is just making a really good product and doing things that can't be done on other blockchains.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fun to theorize about some of these ideas that are in Bitcoin, though. Well, we have no control over them. They are kind of some of the
Yeah, exactly.
wildest, but also the most exciting space because, things move so fast. I mean, my theory has always been like, if there is a hyper Bitcoinization moment, it's not going to be a 20 or 100 year thing.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen because of the way Bitcoin is built. Is that how you think hyper Bitcoinization will happen? It will just happen. It will happen fast, and or is it going to be a if it happens?
Yes, I think that this is Daniel's idea. So it makes sense to me, and I think that the fact that Bitcoin SV is using the same hash algorithm as BTC is kind of like a key part of that. By the way, that's another reason why Bitcoin is very interesting compared to something like Solana, is that there's like if Bitcoin SV succeeds, there's all of this hash power that's sitting there on a competing network that if Bitcoin SV can prove itself, then it's just gonna immediately flow into BSV, and so that's another kind of that's an argument for why it could happen very quickly. And then also just again, I was born in the Soviet Union, and you just that happened extremely fast, relatively speaking. In terms of like geopolitics. And so you can imagine, people kind of coming to the realization that, the fiat order is doomed, basically. First of all, it's doomed and it's also unjust. And so people are going to look for an alternative. And I think BSV, the original Bitcoin, is my preferred alternative for sure. Um, and by the way, that's another like so I'm gonna defend BTC a little bit, right? So if not for BSV, BTC is actually a step in the right direction, right? So having a non-state settlement mechanism for even for countries, that is an improvement over the fiat system. It's just that it's not an improvement all the way. So because what BSV does is it gives you that reserve asset and then actually lets you transact in it. So in BSV there is no hierarchy of money. So like if you look at the way that fiat money works, is there's a hierarchy of money. There's like the reserve asset at the bottom, and then you have like your bank deposits, which are actually IOUs, and you don't actually have the money. So like, and the reason you have that is to be able to transact cheaply. That's why paper gold existed, because you had to have paper gold to transact, because you couldn't like carry gold around. So that's a function of the tech. not being able to transact cheaply in the reserve asset. And BSV actually lets you do that. So you have the reserve asset and you can just extremely, almost for free, send it around. And that's really like a huge deal because again, it's everything we talk about in the Bitcoin spaces. There's no middleman. You no longer need a middleman. That no one can control you. There's no one involved in the exchange of money, and I think that's what's so interesting about BSV. And so so BTC is kind of like a half step. They didn't go all the
Yeah.
way.
No, it's actually a very positive, encouraging outlook to say, what Blockstream did with BTC is in a way, it's a step in the right direction. So thank you, Blockstream and Bilderberg Group for at least getting it in the step in the right direction, right, for what they're
Well,
doing.
I think they didn't have a choice, right? It was kind of like the choice they had was like allow the half step so that they wouldn't have to take the full step. That's really what's happening is
Mhm.
like they had to eat BTC so in order to handicap BSV, which is the full step, which is all of it.
Right.
And
To
so like
delay the inevitable, basically.
exactly they're
They
delaying the inevitable. And actually in an interesting way, BTC is actually setting the ideological kind of environment, a friendly ideological environment for BSV
It
because
really is. Yeah. I mean,
state
for the people out there in the mainstream, even like Saylor, I mean, I don't know if he, but a lot of these people, they talk about this narrative like the original Bitcoin protocol because they don't really understand the tech behind BTC, so they think still in their mind that this is an amazing technology and it's so incredible, it's revolutionary, right? And they're really talking about the original Bitcoin, protocol. But they're with BTC, of course, it's been handy. But I appreciate your idea on that, and it's your feedback that it's almost there. The one thing about BTC with this narrative, man, what was the I forgot what I was going to say now. Sorry, I had really a good
right?
point, but the oh, I know Tether. I saw saw Kurt show today, and he had Gavin Lucas on there talking about Tether and Howard Lutnick, and one of the things I didn't know about Tether was, I mean, I haven't looked this up yet, but I didn't read the whole New York case. Apparently, they didn't even have a bank account when they were indicted by New York Attorney General and banned from the state. They didn't even have a bank account. Apparently, did you know that? I
No,
didn't know that. So they were saying
that's
they had all these reserve assets. We got all this money. They're like,
hmm,
well, wait a second. They came out in court that you actually didn't have a bank account. So how did you have that money? And they said, well, oops, that they paid a big fine, and they're not
yeah,
allowed to do business there.
yeah. That would make
So,
things difficult to run.
so all that money, this is where back to your point about shorting BTC, right? So all that money that was being built up in Tether in those days where they didn't have a bank account, that just came out of nowhere. So that's the other risk. When you're shorting BTC,
Yeah,
you
exactly right.
you have this risk of, well, somebody has control of a lot of funny money that never had any reserve asset. We know that
Yeah.
from history from court now. So that's the risk
Right,
because
right. So you're not even, it's not, you're like, if you're a
on a,
speculator, you're no longer even speculating on a clean market. Now you have to speculate on the capabilities and the kind of, the desires of really a small group of people in whose, it's not in their interest for BTC to crash. So it's a very difficult, I don't recommend it basically. So, I mean,
yeah, it's so
people
difficult.
should
Well,
do.
it sounds logical, right? This $80,000 sell happens, and
Yeah.
in a somewhat fair market, man, I would
Right.
say I would shorten this thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you
No, I
know,
mean, that's not to say that that's not the way to go either. I'm just saying you have to be very careful. Like, don't, it's not, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying it's not as obvious as you think. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And another thing that's not as obvious as people think is Howard Lutnick. And let me just give a little background. I saw that, Howard Lutnick, people aren't familiar with. He is the Treasury Secretary under President Trump. Now, he's getting a bad rep because he's got 5% ownership in Tether. And people say, oh, Tether is a scam. It's just done all these bad things. Okay. Okay. Let me just premise Howard Lutnick for you a little bit. And we're on a much deeper ideological motive. Okay. And I'm always thinking in the eyes of motive. So on September 11th, he had Cantor Fitzgerald and his brother. He had the office on the, I don't know, it was the 99th floor or something. And he happened to be At a dentist appointment, it was legit. It wasn't like the guy who owned the building where he said, "Oh, he just left the office one day for 1 hour at this thing." He
Yeah.
actually legitimately wasn't there because his brother was in the building and he died.
Yeah.
If it was his brother died, the building went down, and his whole company burned down at that time. It went down. Now he also is one of the best friends of President Trump, a New Yorker, both New Yorkers, right? So these two guys, especially Howard Lutnick, they've got a real bone to pick with the people behind 9/11. It's a personal matter for him because of his brother being killed. It's a
Yeah.
personal matter, and while this whole tether thing maybe smells to high heaven and all that, I hope that people realize that there's a much bigger narrative that needs to be looked into here behind this whole thing. Because the other thing is Palantir is a good example. I know people are familiar with Palantir. Well, Palantir, there's I think it's a department, I think it's regulation 201. It's this new regulation that's been put out there by that allows military officers to be inside of these super high tech disruptive companies like Meta. There's a military officer that's been sworn into the U.S. military as their I think it's a CEO. Same thing with Palantir. Same thing with another two or three other major disruptive companies. Why? Because when you're an officer in the military, you're under military standards and military justice laws. You cannot be out there willy-nilly. I'll just go out there. I might get sued civilly. No, no, no. It's a whole different level. You're under military justice, military subpoenas, military tribunals. These are different law sets that now you're under because you've sworn an oath to the military. You and I are civilians.
To
We're
defend the
not.
Constitution.
Yeah, we're not a part of that. We're not under military. We're not in that jurisdiction. But when you do as an officer and you're in charge of that company, now it's different. So, and I
So
really
are they
think that
active duty?
active duty military.
Yeah, well.
That's the guy in Palantir, active duty military.
Mhm.
Meta, active duty military. These are
Yeah.
the CEOs, CFOs, CIOs.
Yeah. I didn't know that, but I mean, I think you could also, there's also some worry there too. Like, you know, this is, so I don't know exactly what they're doing. So, but this is the state getting involved in private companies. So I think that's going to be a criticism of that move. And I think that's like a legitimate worry. So yeah, I don't know too much about it, but at the same time, like the truth is the state has been involved already. So
Yeah.
not in a good way.
I
You
mean,
could think about like,
isn't it likely that they actually started Meta? I mean, what was the organization in the state that started it? Didn't it DOD or not DOD, but I don't remember, but in the early
yeah, I
days,
think, well, I'm not sure about Meta, but or
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah, at the time, but definitely Google was
Yeah.
a grant from DARPA.
DARPA. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's already there. That's already happened. The state's involved. Now it's a matter of,
Yeah.
well, do we
Who's the
have
good
a,
state and who's the bad state?
right,
Well, that's
exactly.
the other thing. That's this, it's like I said before, there's like basically the secret war going on that we're basically getting glimpses of, at the highest level of government. Peter Turchin has this theory that like civilizations collapse when there's elite overproduction, meaning like there's too many elites and then they're like fighting over like a shrinking pie of power and wealth and influence. And so it's really, there's really like, I wouldn't be my very vague and very kind of like unclear picture of it is that there is this conflict happening and in many ways that like we don't know about and that things are happening that are difficult to explain because we don't have the whole picture and we're
Mhm.
being propagandized from both sides of that conflict and it's a crazy time. It's not an easy time to kind of
It's not. I mean, but the thing is
media,
that the
let's say.
the thing is like the military side is under direct control of the commander in chief. So we know that that's the one agency he does have control over.
Yep.
Okay, and we know now these are just I'm just laying out some facts, and people can let's verify this. We know Palantir, Meta, and now these other companies, as well as the person in charge of the entire military, the entire intelligence in the United States. Do you know that she's active duty military?
Is she's in charge of what?
She's in charge. She's the national director. She's the director of national intelligence. That's over the CIA. So the CIA reports to her. So
Yeah.
there's President Trump, president.
You're talking
Then
about
there's the
Tulsi?
director of national intelligence. She's active duty military. Did you
Yeah,
know
yeah.
that's not allowed?
No, I didn't know that.
You can't be active duty military when you're under a presidential cabinet position. Why isn't anyone raising questions about that? If you want to, raise a stink, what is going on? You're not
Yeah, that's
allowed to be
interesting.
active duty military inside the cabinet running national intelligence. Oh, well, unless, I mean, there's always an unless, right?
Yeah.
And here's the
Okay,
big
what's the last?
unless. So
Mhm.
either it's completely unconstitutional and we're running in a sham, or we have invoked special military executive powers under this special military operation to have an active duty military officer in charge of all national intelligence, overseeing the CIA, overseeing Palantir, overseeing Meta, overseeing these AI companies so they don't destroy everything. That's the other side. So you got to pick which side you're on, though, because either A, it's a complete scam and they're going against all laws and putting an active duty military officer in charge of national intelligence. And it
Yeah.
should be outraged about that. Or
Right. So
it's
why
the
aren't
other
people
way.
outraged? Why isn't the opposition outraged
Why?
about it?
Probably because if they really dig into it, they're going to see that everything's been done legal through laws, orders, and executive power.
Yeah.
That's probably why there's been no legal challenges because it has been done in
Yeah.
my.
Well, I mean, the challenge doesn't have to be legal necessarily. I'm just curious why, like, I wonder if there could be just like pushback from the Democrats, for example. Like,
Right. There should be pushback on it. I encourage there to be pushback because it would expose the truth behind it. What is really going on? Why
yeah,
would that be allowed when it's not allowed?
yeah, that's interesting. You should do a tree chat post about all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would read it.
Yeah, I will. So yeah, so on Tree Chat, what I'm trying to do is like write like put in articles whenever, and I don't know, is that a bad use of Tree Chat? Like
Oh, I think it's
or
great. No,
no?
yeah, keep it up.
Okay.
I think it's
The,
good. Yeah,
because I like to write it that way, and I know that it won't get censored. That's the reason I do it there. I probably doesn't get as much views. I could probably get it viewed somewhere else, but at least it's there and it won't get taken down. Like
yeah,
I put it on Google, or I had a great blog going a long time ago, and it got shut down.
yep,
And it just pisses me off. All
yeah,
those blog posts I made for years gone.
yeah. That's crazy.
It
Yeah, you
is.
just
I mean, it
right,
just
because
go ahead.
right because they're running on a proprietary database, and here everything's on chain.
Yeah. So that's my motivation is I want to keep that information there so it never gets shut down. So I can always reference it. Hey, I did that that year.
Yeah,
It's not out of
you can also, by the way, post to Twitter. I think you've done it actually before, but you can post to Twitter or to X rather from Tree Chat.
yeah,
If you end up writing something, I think that's probably like for the creators on X is like that's probably a good way to kind of span both networks is, because I always tell creators, it's like you're spending the time writing, like why not start earning some Satoshis instantly? Like you can monetize instantly on Tree Chat, then just cross post with a click of a button
can you
onto
can you
X.
tell me what I'm doing wrong about that? Because if I share my screen, will you walk me through what I'm doing? Because I thought I'd set that up, but I didn't. And let me just make sure
Yeah.
that I'm not sharing any sensitive information here. But um, okay, if I go here and then I go to my profile,
No, no,
then
no.
I
Your
can.
settings on the right. See that little settings gear icon?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
hmm Yeah,
Then
and then
I
scroll
go
down.
to you.
Yes.
Oh, I have an update.
Yeah, yeah. So what we just released an update, and so that you can now post images and videos as well. So yeah, you need to disconnect it. Yeah,
Disconnected.
yeah. So if you go back, so yeah, and scroll down. Yeah, disconnect it, and then just connect again, and then it should be good. I think that's okay. Yeah.
Could it be?
No,
Could
no.
it be
I think that should be it. Yeah, there you go.
connected?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I think that going forward, it should hopefully work. And um, if it doesn't, then just let me know.
well, let me just see right now. So let's say I post. I say, finishing up, having a great. Let's say I post that.
Yep. Yep. And so then
Now, do you
if
think that will go to X?
no no no, so you have to then if you click on the three buttons on the yep. Yeah, and then it's not showing up. Can you try reloading the page?
Yeah.
I just wonder if it needs a reload to get in there.
Okay, there it
And
is.
then yeah, and the three little dots.
Delete, translate,
I
archive,
don't know.
copy.
Oh, sorry. It's in I'm in the wrong menu. So it's in that thread menu. So at the top right in the thread, I was pointing to the wrong place. Yeah.
Oh, tweet. Now what? This?
Yeah. From account. So you choose the account. There you go. Yeah, I should probably update the branding there, but old Twitter, old Twitter mind. Yeah, so as I was saying, you can like
Wow.
you can instantly monetize on Tree Chat and then still access your audience on X. The reason you had to do that was because to disconnect and reconnect again because we just did an update where now the images and videos will post as well. So before it was only text and now images and videos also work.
So now, what's this? Play thread as a story.
Yeah, so this is this is actually an interesting feature. So you know like Instagram stories
Yeah.
or yeah, like so basically you can if you take a thread and you put like it basically plays the thread as a slideshow. It's a little bit of a still it needs some it's it's not as polished, but it's pretty nice like yeah, so you can see it's um
Oh,
like so
so
like
it's
if so if you had multiple, so if you had multiple, I need to change the text color, but if you had like images, like if you had a bunch of photos, um, then it would actually, so right now there's only one message here, so it just plays as one. But like if you had a bunch of images, let's say, or a bunch of videos, and it would play like one after the other, after the other, after the other. Could be like, it could be a nice way of making a playlist, for example. Um,
okay. So in order to do that, I would post right here again, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's how I would make the thread.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And if I wanted to put an image there, I would just post it right there. And then I would post another one below that, right?
Exactly. Yep. This is all one thread that then would you could play as like a
And
slideshow.
does the thread expand over to X? Or
Yes, it does. Yep.
so if I do this, let's
Yep.
say,
Yeah. This you already posted this one, so I'm not sure that because yeah, if you go up to th the thread in the top right, that thread menu, yeah, I think this message was tweeted already. But if you created a new thread, then it would work. But that's actually a good point. It would be cool if we could do it midway there.
I see. So it doesn't post in here right yet right now.
It will so it will if you hadn't if you like if you start a new thread and do like three messages in that thread, it will
I
post all
start a brand new thread, post all the
exactly.
messages here,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Then
Then it would
broadcast to X.
exactly. Then it would do the whole thread. It's just like right now, since you already posted on X the original message, it doesn't give the option to repost as a thread.
Super
But
cool.
we can actually change that. That's not a, it would be cool if it was smart enough to just continue the thread. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, super cool though. I mean, what you just showed me right now is cool. Now I can post on Tree Chat and I can put it to X. I was actually not able to do that before. Now
Yeah, yeah.
that's a
Sorry
new.
about that. Yeah, because we updated
Well,
the image.
I didn't, I wouldn't have known how anyway. So now you just showed me. So that was super valuable, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate you doing that. I mean, it's such a new technology. It's so cutting edge. It's
yeah.
exciting. It's so disruptive. It's like,
That's what
you
I'm
know,
saying.
it's
It's
like,
like the thing is again, like if again for creators out there, it's like you could be monetizing your work instantly.
so yeah, now I can write the blog post on Tree Chat and then it will go to X. I want to
Yep.
see how that I have. That's what I've been wanting to do because I want to write the
Yeah.
blog on Tree Chat. I would like to go to X as well. Now
Yep.
I
Give
can
it
do
a
that.
shot. Yep.
Would it be easier? Would it be smart, in your opinion? Would it be better to break it down into a thread or write it into one long post? And if so, how long should each post be if I break it down?
Yeah. Well, so I think the way you're doing it is totally legit. So I like to break them up into a thread and I just do like a paragraph per message. So just like top, like maybe there's there's no right way basically, but like one way is to have like the title up in the first message, and then every thread that's after that is a paragraph. The reason I like to do that is because it's called tree chat, so it branches out. So that way, every paragraph you write gets its own comment section because, like, if someone wants to comment on that paragraph, they just branch the thread and then it starts the conversation going. I just like that capability of tree chat, and
I'm going to
so
try that. I'm going to try that
give
now
it a
because
shot.
now, yeah, I'll experiment with that. And what I'll do is I'll put the title because I think I like the way I'm doing it, but I'd like to experiment and see how it looks with just the title on the very top of the thread.
Yep.
And then because I do have a title, I'll write a title and then I want that one to be seen. And sometimes it's
Yep.
not, yeah, I think it'll get viewed better. Put the
Yep.
title, then below that, I'll put the next paragraph,
Exactly.
paragraph below that, etc. Picture, image, video,
Exactly. And
whatever.
that also lets you illustrate each the different parts of the post differently, right? So like imagine you have like, a 5 paragraph post, you could add an image to every paragraph and then get it. So
Yeah.
you can even generate images. By the way, another thing you can do is if you want to write I don't know if you do this already, but oftentimes what I'll do is I'll write the post in a private thread. Okay. And then like that lets me like edit because in private you can edit things. So that lets me edit it. That lets me like add images. Maybe I don't like the image. I can change the image. That lets me basically mess up and then get a final version and then republish to public once I think it's ready. That's a workflow that
I see.
people
So
often.
change to private and
Yeah.
then
Yeah. So you
a
work in
link
that.
published to thread in link stream. That's a new one. I'm not familiar
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that, but the link stream is basically it basically lets you share the link stream is it's kind of like you are the when you share a URL to a Google Doc or another way of thinking about it is like YouTube unlisted. So you have to like anyone who with the link can access the thread, but it doesn't show up in any of the streams. But yeah, what you want is the private thread. Yeah, so
So if I
well,
do private thread, oh, I see. It's a draft.
Well, yeah, it works like it's not a draft, but that drafts link actually takes you to a series of drafts. But it's, yeah, you use it as a draft. You're right. So like that private thread becomes,
If I press post on this, it's going to stay private and I can edit it.
exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And so the way you edit it is that little edit right to the left. Yeah, you see? And so now you can edit and, um,
Got it.
yeah, so that way you can like experiment with what the form factor is Um, and then when you're ready, you just republish just like you made this thread private. You just go back to that. Yeah, just you can click cancel there. Oh yeah. Yep,
I would
exactly.
go there,
Yeah, and then just hit public and then that
public
will.
thread. That's how
Yep.
I would do it, right?
Yep, exactly.
That makes sense, man. That's awesome, dude. That's really cool.
Yep.
Okay, this is super helpful to just get a
By the
little.
way, another thing, just while we're here in private, like, so you start this thread in private, you're the only one in it, but you can mention like anyone you mention. So let's say you start a private, like a new private thread, and you're like, uh, I don't know, maybe you want to talk to someone, you can actually mention them in the private thread, and then that's like a private DM conversation between you and the person you
What's the
mentioned.
best way to find people in this tree chat to do that? At
Well, yeah, at gives you the menu of like, I, so when you say find people, like what do you mean? Yeah,
I
like
want to find somebody in here. I have to just type in their
yeah, you,
username, right?
you have to know. Yeah, you have to know their username.
Yeah, a lot of people they've got alias AKAs in here, so I don't know who they are. So I have
Yeah,
to do a different one. I
right.
use my own. Yeah, see, mine's there. I recommend people do that because it's easier to find you. When you have an alias, how am I going to know who you are?
Yep.
I have to know that's your alias.
Yeah, like if you were to write metameta in this thread, like I would get a notification. Yeah,
Yeah.
there. And I would get a notification, and then I could answer you in this thread. So then I would gain access to it. Yeah, if
Sure.
you. So
He has his name in there.
yep, yep, yep. So now we would both be invited to this thread, and that like if I go to my tree chat,
You
um,
would get notified of that. Where do I get that notification? Where would I see my notification?
so in the top right, you probably have. It looks like you have a million notifications. Yeah, almost 1,000. Wow, man. Yeah.
Oh,
If you click that, then you would see everyone that's. So just look there anytime you really every time anytime you sign on to see if anyone messaged you. So like right now, I'm gonna
so
say,
I have to go through 965 notifications. I'm
yeah.
supposed to.
Well, you don't have to. Once you click that, that will get zeroed out. So,
So I got behind on my notifications is what happened.
by
I
the
was
way, let me tell you one more
yeah.
cool thing. So if you see in the top left,
Hmm.
there's yeah, this thing exactly. So you can actually so if you click that, yeah, you can actually switch to one panel mode or three.
We're one.
Yeah, yeah. So this is so now this works more like X basically. So like you just one thing at a time and it slides over. So this is just so you're not like overwhelmed by all the three panels. We kind of did it this. But if you wanted to have multiple panels, you
Oh
could.
yeah, I see. That helps me out because this right here does confuse the hell out of me.
Yeah, yeah.
That's better for me. So I could do two, one. Now
No,
I've
no,
got one
it's just
panel.
one or three. So
One or
like, yeah,
three.
so this I actually use it in this one panel mode mostly now because it just lets me focus on, what I'm looking at. And it
This is
works the same
one.
way. Yeah,
Cool, dude. Thanks for showing me that. I like this way better. This is what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
used to. One thing at a time, and then I
exactly.
can always, go back to the three if I want.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah. And then yeah, it's the same thing. So that you're already in home. So but yeah,
nice.
if you
What
look
if I
at
want to add now? What if I wanted to go back to that post I was just writing? I go back to private, right? No. Where do I go back to my drafts? Oh, here they
yeah,
are. Yeah.
yeah, it's in private. There you go. Yeah,
Now,
and you see those little arrows at the top, the
oh, this
left.
is a private thread with Dimitri as well. So
Uh
that's weird because it posted on X.
yeah, but because you posted it out on so it's
Yeah,
you can post private
got
threads.
it.
Yeah, if you wanted to, you could put that on chain. But actually, June 25th. So yeah, so you posted that on June. That was from our previous.
Oh gosh, that was
Yeah, yeah.
before.
This one you did post on chain because I think I
Yeah.
saw someone up value it.
Now,
Yeah. So if
um,
you look, if you go to the notifications, so just click your notifications. Um, yeah, so you can see
post.
that. Look, if you yes, someone upvalued you, and then look below that, I answer.
Can I respond to that? Like, how do I respond to that person or do
Um,
something?
that's
Yeah.
interesting. So you
I don't
can't
know what if I see that, what am I supposed to do? I guess what's
nothing.
best practices? Nothing.
Nothing. It's just a It's kind of like a like notification. But if you wanted to respond to them, that's an interesting feature. I'll have to think about that. But you can't right now. It's just letting you know that someone sent you 100 sats for that post. But if you look at below, it says so the thread below where you said post and you see at the bottom there. So I said
Right.
hello.
Now I can respond to you.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're talking in that thread. So this is now a private thread where we're talking. Um, yeah. So that's kind of Tree Chat's way of doing DMs. So if you ever want to like DM someone, you can start a private thread and just
That's
mention.
DMs. Cool. So private DMs are going to be here. That's
Yeah,
cool.
exactly. And then they don't have to all go here. You can start a new thread and just mention me in that thread. So you
I
can
didn't
have
know
multiple.
that.
Yeah, you
I
can
was
have
wondering
multiple.
about DMs on Tree. Okay, this is how you do it. It's
Yeah,
private. It's a private post, and you
yeah.
mention
It's just
people.
exactly. It's a private space
And this
for.
doesn't go on chain.
Oh, it does not go on chain. No.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really helpful. And what about the images? Just if I wanted to turn this into an image, and I want to make images out of this, how would I do that?
You mean to add images to it?
Yeah,
So
edit.
yeah, so you could yeah, so you either there, yep, so you can attach an image, or you can paste like if you do like copy image and then you can paste it
What
in.
about? a lot of people they seem to be doing like AI images though, and
Yeah, so that to do AI images, so I think you would have to create a new message for that. But so if you go down or start a new thread, basically you see that little magic.
so I can go right down
Yeah,
here, right?
yeah, you can extend the thread too. So yeah, that little yeah, the one you were just doing, the magic wand, yeah, AI actions. And so yeah, now you see this menu. Those are all of your AI powers here. So like, and there's many models. And so in private, we actually charge you, this for depending on the model that's used. So we do it per request. So you don't need a subscription. But in public, all of these are actually would be free. Yeah, so here, and then you just give it a prompt. So now you have to say like what you want. So like, I don't know, I usually do like something like dancing monkey or something. But um, yeah. So this by itself won't do it, won't generate an image. You have to give it like what you are looking for.
How much does it matter how much detail? I guess it doesn't matter. And then if I now what? I just press reply. Would I press reply?
Yeah. Yeah, so then it's going to ask you. So I don't know if what you have in your
That
wallets.
wasn't what I wanted to make, but can I change it now?
Yeah, you can change it. So just X out it or cancel. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, but at least it shows me how to work it now.
No, no,
I
no, no.
got it.
Sorry, sorry. So that was just the confirmation screen. That wasn't the actual image. So yeah. So if you hit reply, so if you want to make this, so hit reply. Yeah, this is just telling you to. So this is like if you read at the bottom, I should make this more clear, but it's just telling you the cost.
That's
And
not the image, is it?
oh, that's not the image. Yeah, that's just a. Yeah, that's a little confusing. Yeah. So now it's gonna do. Now hopefully it will generate the image for you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and so you can do that in private or in public.
Okay, funny. All right, cool. There it
Uh,
is.
yeah, so in public, we actually make the image generation free models. In private, we do charge again per request, so no subscription is required. And so, which is nice because like you can see the amount of models. So if you scroll down again a little bit, like, and you click on that magic wand again. And so like, look at all of like, these are all the different model providers. What Remix does is if you wanted to like edit this image, you can use all of these models. So like, these are all basically, it makes it so you can remix the previous image. And so this, for example, this will generate a video using that image, which it will take a minute to generate, but and so, yeah, so Nano Banana, like you can say like give the bear a hat. Yeah, and same thing. So you just create.
So it will take that. Oh, let's see what it does. Yeah.
So it will take a sec. Yeah.
Nice. So it's
Yeah.
going to create an image that's more dynamic.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Remix just it's an editing model, right? So it requires Remix requires some other asset up higher in the thread to edit. So you can either generate, yeah. So whereas image and video are
Where's image and video?
image and video so if you go back, yeah. So image and video are yeah. So you
This
can
one?
generate. Yeah, this is video. So that you can, so for example, like, so these are getting more expensive because these are video models, but like Kling 2.1 is a really good one. That's not as expensive as like,
Where's that?
that's the, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. So,
If I say, now what would I say?
whatever, I mean,
Make a video of this or
no, yeah, just say like, like futuristic cityscape with
will it build on this bear
no,
image?
no. So no, the video one is the video creates a new video from the prompt. You need if you wanted to edit this one, you need the remix models. So if you go to remix, then yeah, if you'd want, yeah, exactly.
Are
So
these
like,
videos?
so you see that little icon to the left of it. So there's yeah. So these the camera icon is the videos, and then the image icon is the images. So if you want a video, you yeah you would so actually do I would do Kling because the animate Luma one is yeah. So if you go back and do remix, yeah, and say like Kling and make the bear dance, then so this one is gonna take a minute or two. So just FYI. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's gonna work for a little while.
It's going to now charge me in sats in my wallet, apparently.
Yeah, it's yeah, you were
And
charged
how
it.
much was that? I didn't see.
This one was 199. Oh,
$1.99.
yeah. Yep. And then it gives you the sats also in the price. So and then a bunch of the image models are like 9 cents. And then the most expensive one is the Veo 3 model from Google, which is also the best one, but it's like 7.99 per generation.
What if I
But
wanted to buy that directly from Google?
then you would need a subscription probably. I don't know how much they charge, like 20 bucks a month maybe. That I mean the yeah, I'm not sure what their pricing is per month, but
So, how do you guys get it? You subscribe to all these things somehow, or?
yeah, we have an API that we hit that because the different model providers offer up APIs, and so we basically so like the reason some of the models are more expensive than others is because they're charging us. But yeah, but what's nice about this is that you can use all of these different models without like that all of those capabilities basically represent like I don't know how many models there are there like 30, 40 models. So imagine having to like you probably don't need 30 to 40 subscriptions, but that's like realistically for what you would use there, there's like 10 subscriptions in there that you could just be paying per request and you don't have to worry about like, you know, hundreds of dollars a month. You can just use
Yeah.
it when
Well, Dimitri, this is great, man. I appreciate you coming on. Sorry for, yeah, I had to reschedule this meeting that we had, and we went
oh,
deep down the rabbit hole on some of these cool topics. I'm even
yeah,
going to
that was
explore
fun.
Tree Chat and post the X a link to Tree Chat now. So I learned a lot on how to write my post differently. So my
Yeah.
blogs.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always fun seeing your posts on there. So I mean, if you should check your notifications because a lot of people are up valuing.
I will look at my notifications. I get emails about them, but I don't know how to respond. Yeah,
Yeah,
just didn't
those
know
are
what to
just
do. So.
notifications. You don't. I think there's a link in there back to the post. But yeah,
Mhm.
the best way is the way I do it is I just yeah check out that notifications bell and you just
Okay.
see when people are messaging you or
I'm
you're
going to
getting.
look at the notifications. Yeah, that's all. I have to find that. So awesome. Thank you, Dimitri. I
Awesome,
appreciate it.
Gavin. That
Let's do
was
it again
fun. Yeah,
sometime.
100%.
All
Have a
right,
good
man. All right. See
one.
you at the top.